If you have diabetes and you eat rice, stop what you are doing right now. Because what I am about to share with you today completely changes how rice behaves inside your body. Most diabetics are told to stay away from rice forever. And if you are one of those people who gave up rice because it sent your blood sugar through the roof, I completely understand your frustration. But here's the truth that most doctors will never tell you. It is not the rice that is the real problem. It is how you are preparing it. There is 1 tablespoon of something sitting in almost every kitchen that can dramatically change what happens to your blood sugar 2 hours after eating rice. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever eaten a small bowl of rice, checked your blood sugar 2 hours later, and just stared at the number in disbelief? You did not eat cake. You did not drink soda. You had a simple, normal meal. And yet that number on your glucose monitor looked like you had just eaten an entire dessert table. That feeling is one of the most frustrating things a diabetic can go through. You start asking yourself questions. Did I do something wrong? Should I have eaten less? Is my medication not working anymore? And slowly, meal by meal, you start shrinking your life. You eat the same 2 or 3 safe things every day because everything else feels like a gamble with your health. And rice becomes the enemy, something you used to enjoy with your family, something that is part of your culture, your home, your happiest memories. Now it feels completely off limits. But here's what I want you to understand. You are not failing. You're not weak. You were just never given the right information. The way most people cook and eat rice is genuinely problematic for blood sugar. But there is a simple fix, and it starts today. I have spent years working with diabetic patients who come to me completely defeated. They're eating less, moving more, taking their medication every single day, and still watching their numbers climb. And when I ask them about their daily meals, rice comes up almost every single time. What surprised me was not that rice was spiking their sugar. What surprised me was that a tiny change in how they prepared that same rice made a measurable difference in their blood sugar readings within just 2 weeks. No new medication, no expensive supplement, just a simple shift in preparation. This is not something that gets talked about enough. And today I want to fix that for you. Let us bust a very common myth right now. Most people think the problem with rice is that it is just bad food, that it is sugar in disguise, and that if you have diabetes, you simply have to accept that rice is gone from your life forever. That is not the complete truth. The real problem is not rice itself. The real problem is the speed at which rice breaks down into sugar inside your body. When you cook regular white rice and eat it hot and fresh, your body digests it incredibly fast. The starch breaks down almost immediately. All of that sugar rushes into your bloodstream at once. Your insulin cannot keep up. Your blood sugar shoots up. You feel tired, foggy, and defeated 2 hours later. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Scientists have discovered something remarkable. When you cook rice and then let it cool down completely, something changes inside it at a molecular level. The starch actually transforms. It becomes what researchers call resistant starch. A study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that cooling cooked rice significantly increases its resistant starch content. And resistant starch behaves almost like fiber inside your body. It does not get digested quickly. It moves slowly through your system. It feeds your good gut bacteria. And most importantly for you, it causes a much smaller blood sugar spike after eating. Researchers at the University of Sri Jayewardenepura found that cooking rice and then refrigerating it for 12 hours increased resistant starch content significantly compared to freshly cooked rice. This is the science that most people never hear about. And it is the foundation of everything I'm going to share with you today. Let me explain this in the simplest way possible. Imagine your bloodstream is a small river. Normally, when you eat fresh hot rice, it is like someone suddenly opens a massive dam upstream. A huge wall of water, which is sugar, crashes into that river all at once. The river overflows. Everything gets flooded. That is your blood sugar spike. Now, imagine instead that someone slowly releases that same amount of water through a tiny controlled gate. Drop by drop, the river handles it perfectly. It stays calm. It flows normally. No flooding. That is exactly what resistant starch does. It slows down the release of sugar into your blood. The same rice, the same amount, but a completely different effect on your body. And the 1 tablespoon I am going to tell you about makes this effect even stronger. Before I tell you what that 1 tablespoon is, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching this from right now? And how long have you been dealing with blood sugar and insulin resistance issues? If this is already making sense of something you've been worried about, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. If this content is helping you, type 1 in the comments or 0 if it does not. Let me tell you about a patient named Thomas. He was 70 years old, a retired accountant who had been living with type 2 diabetes for 9 years. Thomas loved rice. It was part of every single meal he grew up eating. But after his diagnosis, his doctor told him to stop. So he did. For years, he avoided it completely, and he was still struggling with his numbers month after month. When he came to see me, his morning readings were consistently high, and his energy was flat by noon every day. I asked him one simple question. If I could show you a way to eat rice again without a dangerous spike, would you try something for 2 weeks? He agreed. I gave him one instruction. Cook the rice the night before, refrigerate it overnight, and stir in a small common kitchen ingredient before eating. Nothing else changed. 2 weeks later, he came back with his glucose log. His 2-hour post-meal reading had dropped by nearly 30 points on average. He was eating rice again. Real meals. Food that connected him to his family and his culture. And his numbers were better than they had been in years. That ingredient is what we are covering next. Now, I know you want to know exactly what that 1 tablespoon is, and I'm going to tell you in just a moment. But first, I want you to understand why it works. Because when you understand the reason, you will never forget it, and you will use it every single day. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that consuming vinegar before or during a high-carbohydrate meal reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes by up to 34% in people with type 2 diabetes. A separate study from Arizona State University, conducted by Dr. Carol Johnston, found that acetic acid, the active compound in vinegar, slows down the enzyme that breaks down starch in your digestive system. Think about what that means. The enzyme responsible for turning starch into sugar is literally slowed down. The flood we talked about becomes a slow, manageable trickle. And when you combine that with rice that has already been converted into resistant starch by cooling, you're hitting the blood sugar spike from 2 completely different directions at the same time. The 1 tablespoon I'm talking about is apple cider vinegar. I know, you may have heard of it before, but I want to be very specific with you today because how you use it matters just as much as using it at all. Cook your rice normally. Once it is cooked, do not eat it immediately. Let it cool down fully. Refrigerate it for at least 4 hours. Overnight is even better. This is the step that creates the resistant starch we talked about. When you're ready to eat, take 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar and either mix it directly into your rice or stir it into a small glass of water and drink it 10 to 15 minutes before your meal. It needs to be consumed close to the meal. And the apple cider vinegar must be raw, unfiltered, and with a mother. You will see a cloudy substance floating inside the bottle. That is the mother. That is where the active compounds live. A clear, filtered version will not give you the same benefit. Let me give you the science clearly so you know this is not just a wellness trend. A 2004 study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition tested the effect of vinegar on a high-carbohydrate meal and found a significant reduction in blood sugar and insulin response. The higher the amount of vinegar, the greater the reduction. A 2007 study published in Diabetes Care showed that taking 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before bed reduced morning fasting glucose by 4 to 6% in people with type 2 diabetes. A review published in the Journal of Evidence-Based Integrative Medicine concluded that vinegar consumption showed consistent benefits for blood sugar control across multiple human trials. This is not one small study. This is a pattern across multiple independent researchers. The acetic acid in apple cider vinegar slows starch digestion and improves insulin sensitivity. Combined with resistant starch from cooled rice, the effect on your 2-hour blood sugar reading can be genuinely significant. Now I want to pause here for a second. What I just shared with you is something most people living with diabetes have never been told. 2 simple steps. Cool your rice. Add 1 tablespoon. That is it. No prescription. No expensive supplement. If this feels like something that could truly help you or someone you love, please hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and tells the YouTube to show this video to more people with diabetes searching for real answers. You could help change someone's health just by tapping that button. Let me make this completely practical. Step 1. Cook your rice as you normally would. White rice, brown rice, basmati, whatever you use at home. Step 2. Once cooked, let it cool fully, then refrigerate for at least 4 hours. Overnight is ideal. Step 3. When ready to eat, reheat it gently if you prefer it warm. Reheating cooled rice does not destroy the resistant starch. Research from the University of Surrey confirmed that even after reheating, cooled rice retains more resistant starch than rice never cooled at all. Step 4. Take 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Mix it in warm water if the taste is too strong. Add lemon juice if needed. Drink it 10 to 15 minutes before eating. That is the entire method. Cook, cool, reheat if needed. Add 1 tablespoon. Eat. Here is the one mistake I see people make that cancels out the entire benefit. They buy flavored or sweetened apple cider vinegar drinks from the grocery store. They look healthy. They taste good, but they are loaded with added sugar and fruit juice. The moment you add sugar to this method, you are undoing everything. You need plain raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Nothing added. The label should list only 1 ingredient. Also, do not take it straight if you have any history of acid reflux or sensitive teeth. Always dilute it in water and consider drinking through a straw to protect your enamel. This is not a dangerous ingredient. It just needs correct use. Here is what I want you to do starting today. Try this for 14 days. Keep everything else in your diet exactly the same. Do not change your medication or your exercise routine. Just make these 2 exact changes to your rice. Cool it before eating. Add 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar close to your meal. Check your blood sugar 2 hours after eating rice on day 1 and write that number in the comments right now. Then come back in 2 weeks and tell me your new number. Real people, real numbers, real proof this simple method works. If this video gave you something real today, please share it with someone you know who checks their blood sugar and does not love what they see. You could be helping change their health by sending them this video. And I want to give you something extra. Right after you finish eating, there's one simple 2-minute action that research shows can reduce a blood sugar spike before it fully builds. No equipment, no money, no special skills required. Most doctors never bring it up in appointments, and the study behind it is genuinely surprising. I covered it in full detail in another video. It is already appearing on your screen right now.